If you are taking the Algebra 1 Regents, one thing you need to know how to do is write a linear regression equation. That topic has shown up as a 4-point question on 9 out of the last 10 Regents exams. That is not a coincidence. This skill will show up, so let me help you become an expert at it so you can grab these 4 easy points. Now, your graphing calculator is going to help you a lot with this question, by the way, so make sure you have that out. We're going to look at some 4-point questions from recent exams so you can see exactly how to do this. So first question says, the table below shows average heart rate X and calories burned Y for 7 men on an Olympic rowing team during a 1-hour workout class. Always important to know what our X and Y variables are representing in each problem. It asks us to write the linear regression equation that models these data, rounding all values to the nearest tenth. We'll get back to the rounding later. Now, a linear equation is of the form y equals mx plus b. The data given to us on this table is not going to be a perfect line. It's going to be a scatter plot. And so what this problem is asking us to do is write the equation of the line of best fit that can model the data that's given to us on this scatter plot. All right. So the calculator is going to do all of our work for us. Before anything else, go to the right of that blue second button and hit mode. And we are going to scroll down to where it says stat diagnostics. You see how mine is on off? We're going to go to the right, toggle it to on, hit enter. That has to be on in order for the calculator to show you the correlation coefficient. So always remember stat diagnostics on. Now we're going to hit that stat button. We're going to hit enter on edit. And we're going to enter all of our X values in the column that says L1 and all of our Y values in the column that says L2. So for example, my first X value is 135 as the average heart rate. So I'm going to put a 135 here, hit enter, and then I would just continue down my list for my X's. And when I'm done, I would scroll to the right and continue the list for the Y's. So I'm going to go ahead and fast forward through this part. Okay, all my X values and Y values have been inputted into the L1, L2 column. Before I move on, I'm not going to rush. I'm going to check my Regents and make sure that the numbers on it match the numbers I have. You don't want to lose easy points just because you hit a wrong number. So once you've double checked that the numbers are accurate, now we can go ahead and hit stat again. But this time we're going to scroll right to where it says calc. And now we're going to scroll down or just hit the number 4 to find our linear regression equation. Once you hit enter, it's going to kind of ask you to confirm. Is your X list the L1s and your Y list the L2s? We're going to confirm that by hitting calculate. And there it is, our linear regression equation in the format y equals ax plus b, where a is our slope and b is our y-intercept, and r is our correlation coefficient. Now we're going to take the information that the graphing calculator gave us and substitute it into the equation y equals ax plus b. But we have to be sure to round to the nearest tenth, like they said. If you do everything right in this problem, but you round wrong, you're going to get 3 out of 4 points. Let's grab all 4 points. If you have problems rounding, leave me a comment and I will help you with it. So y equals, our a value when we round to the nearest tenth is going to be 9.1. And our b value when we round to the nearest tenth is going to be negative 527.6. And so here is the linear regression equation that's going to give me my points for part 1 of this question. Now it asks us to state the correlation coefficient rounded to the nearest tenth as well. On that same screen in your calculator where it gave you the A value and the B value, it also gave you an R value. That is our correlation coefficient. So now if we round that correctly to the nearest tenth as well, we're going to get that the correlation coefficient is 0.9. Last part of this question asks us to state what the correlation coefficient suggests about the linear fit of these data. So the correlation coefficient, which is a number that's between -1 and 1, tells us 2 different things. First, it tells us whether the relationship is positive, negative, or non-existent. So this part is really easy to tell. If our correlation coefficient is a positive number, which ours is, then there is a positive relationship. Had it been negative, it would have been a negative relationship. And had the R value been 0, then we would say that there is no relationship. So because our R value was a positive 0.9, what we already know is that there is a positive correlation between these 2 variables. Now, the second thing that the correlation coefficient tells us is how strong the relationship is. If I split this diagram down the middle, let's look just at the right, at the positive correlations. What you'll notice is that the closer I get to 1, the stronger the relationship is. So if you look at the graphs, you'll notice that the closer we get to 1, the more the graph of scatter plots actually looks like it's a line. So the closer these numbers are to 1, the stronger the relationship is. So a value like 0.4, we would call it mild or weak. Still positive, but weak. Now, the same thing happens over on the left. The closer I get to -1, the stronger the relationship is. So a number like -0.8, that would also have a strong relationship. It would just be strong negative versus a strong positive in 0.8. So when we look at our correlation coefficient of 0.9, that is very close to 1. And so we can definitely say that this has a strong positive correlation. Let's take a look at this second example. The owner of an ice cream stand kept track of the number of ice cream cones that were sold each day of the first week in June. She compared the ice cream sales to the average daily temperature. The data are shown in the table below. And we're asked again to state the linear regression equation for this data, rounding all values to the nearest hundredth. So really the rounding is the only thing that's changed between this problem and the previous test problem that we just did. So we're gonna find the linear regression equation again. Let's grab our graphing calculators. You guys should definitely pause the video and try it without me, at least to input your data, and let's see what equation we get. Now again, let's use the information the graphing calculator gave us to write our linear regression equation, except this time we're rounding to the nearest hundredth. So we're going to have y equals 15.13x minus 959.63. There is our linear regression equation for this data. State the correlation coefficient to the nearest hundredth for the line of best fit of this data. So our correlation coefficient, remember, you're looking at r, not r squared. And rounding to the nearest hundredth, that is going to be 0.99. So there is our correlation coefficient. And then I think I cut off the third part by mistake. I'm pretty sure this question also asked what the correlation coefficient means in the context of this problem. And so because it's positive, we know there's a positive correlation. And because it is very close to 1, 0.99 is even closer than the correlation coefficient we got before, which was 0.9. So this would be a very strong positive correlation between those two variables. I don't even think I need to do another one, but I'm just going to show you guys that the June 2024 Regents also had a very similar question. So check out this pattern. It is very obvious. They give us another table. They ask us for the linear regression equation, tell you where to round to, so pay attention to that. They want the correlation coefficient, and then they want to know what does it mean in the context of this problem. So I'm not even going to go through this one. What I'll do is I'll leave the answer to this one in the description of the video. So if you want to do it to get more practice, you could check and see if you got it right. This is all muscle memory. You just got to remember which buttons to hit on the calculator. So keep practicing these and you will do fine.